Hello, everybody. My name's Liam Dyson. I'm head of digital product working in BT Consumer Digital. And I'm here today to talk to you about how we are trying to build a world class product team in one of the biggest and oldest brands in the UK. So, a little introduction to me. So, I've worked in consumer digital for nearly 2 years. And before that, I built and led the PlusNet digital function for about 5 years. And one of the big things that I am passionate about is helping people reach their potential. I love creating empowered teams. But more than anything else, I love creating business outcomes and experiences that support what our users need, but also get us results. We'll talk a little bit about how important all of those things are throughout these slides. So, what we're going to talk about today, I'll give you a little bit of an introduction into who we are and who BT Consumer Digital are. I'll give you a summary of where we've been and what our digital transformation story has been so far. We'll talk a little bit about our direction and where we're trying to get to, but we're also going to focus on how we're doing that. So, BT, if you've not heard of us, you've probably not looked out of the window very much, because every time you do, you will notice something that is part of our business. So, we're the largest provider of consumer fixed line voice and broadband in the UK. So, all the telephone masts, the green boxes at the end of the street, the country relies on us, which is why we are really, really proud to sort of support the nation in many, many ways and a backbone of what we do across the country. A couple of years ago, we added EE to the group, which now means that we're also the UK's largest mobile operator and the best for 5G across the country. We've also in sport, and have been for the last few years. I'm one of the biggest live sport channels and products in the UK. And I will also say that we're probably better than Sky. I prefer Peter Crouch to Gary Neville, but anyway, but that's enough about BT Group in general. So when I talk about digital, we are part of what we call consumer digital. So we are part of the function that is probably the biggest within BT Group. And our team support hundreds of millions of interactions each year. And that accounts for about 90% of all interactions with the BT brand. So our overall purpose as a business is to connect for good. But within digital, our mission is to make sure that we are number one for digital experience. And we've a long way to go to be able to do that. You'll probably notice through this which of the slides that I've made in sort of really rudimentary boxes versus the stuff that I've nicked from central brands. So you have to bear with me and see if you can spot them all as we go through. But for us, what we're trying to do in consumer digital is create brilliant experiences. We believe that by creating brilliant experiences, we will deliver the right outcomes for our business. And that is our plan. We don't focus on the end result. We focus on what we can control, ensure that what we build is steeped in user need, and that the solutions that we make get us incredible ROIs. But the way that we're going to do that, and the way that we do that, is we focus on building amazing journeys and making sure that we are delivering what our users need and expect at the times that they need them. And then what we do is we inject the incredible amount of data and personalization that we have by using what we call our smart brain. So you'll need somebody with a bigger brain than I to explain what is actually in there. But all I know is by adding those two things together, we deliver brilliant experiences that deliver business outcomes. But that's not always been the case. So late last night when I was writing these slides, I thought I'd chuck in, let's see what quotes we've got around digital transformation. And this is one that really sort of jumped out at me that really summarised, I think, where we've been as a business. So for those watching, no doubt you're either going through what you would class a digital transformation or have been through one. And frankly, historically, BT have looked at digital transformations as projects that have got a start and an end. And I think lots of businesses have done that in the past and continuing to do that. In terms of, we have a digital transformation program, we'll spend a few years and a few million quid creating features and journeys that our customers can then go away and use so they don't need to pick up the phone. And in turn, we'll make ourselves leaner, build the right capabilities. And we've been doing that for probably 2 decades, ever since the website was created, frankly. What's noticeable, though, is that those digital transformation programs seem to end, and then we do another one over time when something else comes in, the introduction of cloud, apps, etc. And I think what is really, really apparent when you talk to people within our business that have been involved in those historic programs was that the focus of them has always been on output. It's about traditionally delivering a project or a program. You need to deliver to schedule, you need to deliver to budget. It's about churning through requirements, documents, functional requirements, running waterfall processes like you've delivered products for the last 30, 40 years. Delivering something 9 months after you've actually submitted your requirements, and then finding that it doesn't actually deliver the thing that you thought it was gonna. And then we'd do it again, and then we'd do it again, and we'd do it again, and then we'd all look around and go, why isn't this working? The reason why is that we were focused on output, like we just talked about, delivering what the business wanted us to deliver, being a vehicle for delivery and seen as a technology sort of delivery function rather than an area that's accountable for delivering outcomes for the business and for our users. A team of mercenaries, as it were, and sort of where we would do as we were told, and then if it didn't deliver the right results, we'd go, well, we've done our bit, so that's your fault, and that never works. We were also organised around systems. Basically, we took the easy way out and we organised around what was better for us. So it's always easy to organise yourselves around tech stacks, or we've got a team focused on the app, a team focused on the website, a team focused on our colleague tools. But fundamentally, a user or a customer doesn't see that. They see a single interaction with their brand and go end to end, frankly. And we're always doing the same things that we always had, how we'd always done it. So people have been delivering digital products, as we come to call them now, for 30, 40 years, ever since the invention of sort of software engineering in the 80s, at a scale perspective. We just decided that, oh, well, we'll carry on doing how we've always done things. And frankly, in this new age, it's not delivered the value that you'd expect. And I really like this quote, and I've put this picture of Ken on because I like his glasses, and he's exactly the type of person that I think you should be listening to. And he looks like the type of person you should be listening to about digital transformation. And frankly, the quote around the tools don't matter landed in my inbox yesterday. And it sort of really resonated in terms of this talk, because I think what's really clear and what we've seen in our business over time is that if you deliver the capabilities, that's okay. But if you don't then deliver a transformation or a cultural change alongside them in terms of how you use them, or the culture that underpins what you do with them, then it's pointless. I personally would much rather have a website or a set of digital products held together by sticky plasters and spreadsheets, but have an incredible team aligned around a goal, a vision, and understand that we need to deliver outcomes and not outputs, than have bleeding edge tech, but a team of people sat around pointing at each other in terms of accountability. And I think that's where one lesson that we've learned over the last couple of years, and that's why we're going to do things differently. So with that, where are we going within consumer digital? Talked about this a little bit, but we are focused on outcomes. As a business unit, and there's circa 1,300 people working in consumer digital right now. We have got a stated aim to be productive but not busy, and not the other way around. So everybody's busy, but are they always being productive? Probably not. And what we have now got is a team of people who understand where we want to get to, the value that we need to deliver to our business, and we deliver that value by creating incredible digital products and brilliant experiences. And we come to the table to work together and to collaborate. We want to help solve user problems and business problems, and be that little bit in the middle of that is the sweet spot in terms of the right amount of effort and the right solutions for the size of the problem that we've got. And the way that we do that is that we're now organized around our key journeys. So we are now very clearly organized within consumer digital and across BT, frankly, which has been a massive step forward, in that we have got clear end-to-end journey ownership and accountability. So our teams are focused on the horizontal and thinking about the user experience across the journeys, across the channels that they interact with us in, instead of focusing on the channels and then handing it over to Peter or Sally to be able to do the rest. And that includes us working with marketing, that includes us working with service, and us all having the same aims, which is to deliver incredible, brilliant experiences. We've also completely changed our culture in terms of the way that we want to do things. So we've introduced a build, measure, learn mentality, in that we look to experiment and discover and learn little and often. So obviously we've talked about waterfall and the way that we've done things in the past. Our team are enabled and set up with the right tools and the right safety nets to go off and try new things and just learn more. So our focus on a sprint by sprint basis is to learn as much as we can about our users, and by learning more, we will then understand what the right solutions are to be able to fix those problems and to be able to deliver the right value for our business. This is obviously one that I've nicked off our brand site, so you can tell. And I think these is our sort of three key aims through our. This is our current transformation program, but this is one that probably won't end. So historically, we've always focused on better technology, so supercharge our technology. Everybody's talked about becoming a data-led business, but the real focus for us at the moment is transforming our ways of working. Because if we don't do that, the rest of it doesn't matter. And within world-class product, we are looking to create world-class product people. We've talked a little bit earlier on around the missionary, not mercenary principle that any sort of digital product person will recognize that quote from Marty Kagan. And like we said earlier on, our product team, which happens in many enterprises and many sort of big companies, is a team of people that have come together from different roles, been merged together because they might have done delivery or they might have been a subject matter expert, etc. But that doesn't mean that they have got the skills or we haven't enabled them to be product people. And by product people, what we mean is shipping is just not enough. Getting something out of the door, built and in front of users and delivered, is not the stated aim. Delivering value is. And the way that we do that comes into 4 key areas. And what we expect from our product people are to demonstrate leadership, to inspire their squad. We will need them to act as a team captain and make sure that the right decisions are made to get the right outcomes from the investment that we've put into that squad. For them to be the outward looking part of that squad, to build relationships with stakeholders, to understand what their key problems are, and to make sure that anything that we put in front of them takes into account what they need and the context of their challenges. So that might be time, it might be as a constraint. We will never put a solution in front of a stakeholder if they've told us it needs to be done in 2 months. It's going to take 9 months. We have to sort of transcend the business and our users and come up with things that sit in the middle. And that's what we mean by leadership. Vision and strategy. So we expect our people to be able to set a really ambitious aim for where they want to take their products, and making sure that they are very clear on vision and strategy. Like, this is the end state of where we want to take our product, and make sure that we have got the right strategy underneath it, the right tactics, the right OKRs and objectives and key results to be able to get that. And not only that, we need to understand our business, our customers, the industry at large, what's happening in different geographies, and be the expert in terms of how our things actually work, and not outsource that to what would normally be an IT function or whatever. We expect our product people to be that expert in their product. We expect them to discover problems and solve them with our users, with our customers and stakeholders collaboratively. We expect us to spend an awful lot of time learning new things about our users and making sure that we are putting minimal viable prototypes in front of them through user testing or however we choose to do so, to discover what the right solution is to a problem, and that we iterate and experiment on a weekly sort of sprint basis. And then prioritization and performance. We can't get away from this part of it, which is we are accountable and we take accountability for the performance of the things that we own. It's not something that is handed over to somebody else. It is ours, and we need to be clear on how it is performing and make sure that we are prioritizing our effort and our time and our money, frankly, to get the most amount of return, and make sure that we are maximizing that value to effort, and that we are spending our time fixing the right problems rather than the ones that we want to. And they are the 4 key sort of pillars of what we expect from our product people. We've touched on this a little bit, but just to sort of bring it to life, what our product people aren't our BAs, i.e. sat writing traditional waterfall requirements documents. They're not scrum masters or agile coaches in terms of being there to transform how we work and the way that we do things within the squad. We're not designers in terms of we are accountable for the value, but we work closely with our product and content design teams to ensure that they have got the right context and understanding of what we do. We're not a user researcher. We are not analysts. We're not developers. We're not project managers. We need to understand all these things, and we need to ensure that we are working with those people closer to ensure that they've got the right context. But we don't do their jobs. Ours is very, very different and more of a general role. But fundamentally, we bring all these skill sets into the squads because we recognise the criticality and importance of all. And then by doing all of that, we expect to be able to bring all of that together. So much of our time is about collaborating with all of those areas. We ask our designers to be responsible for the usability of a solution. We ask our engineering function to be clear on whether or not that solution is feasible. We make sure that we work with the business that it's a viable solution to the problem, and then in turn, product right in the center delivers value. And the question that we look to ask every single time is this solution that we are putting in front of our stakeholders and our users going to solve the problem that the business or customers have told us we've got? So it's really clear to us that product is a very different mindset, and it's a journey that we're going on across digital to ensure that we transition away from that delivery focus, and that shipping is not just enough, and that takes an awful lot of effort for us, and that we are making sure that we are focusing the right time and effort on how we're going to do it. So how are we going to do it? We know that the way that we need to do this is by helping our people reach their potential. We, as a product leadership community across what we call our product enablement team and our DR lines across the product leaders function, have got a stated aim to make coaching development out of our people a priority, and to make sure that we have conversations regularly around standards, expectations, and that we enable them to operate in the ways that I talked about before. Example of that is a recent skills wheel that we've launched that enables our people to understand where they are across some of the critical areas and critical core competencies that we've got, and help support coaching and development conversations, and put in interventions to how can we support people really reach their potential. What we've also done is recognize that product is always an area that can attract generalists and people that want to deliver and enjoy design but enjoy commercials and everything else. So we've created internal pathways for our people to be able to retrain. So by doing that, we've put in pathways for people to come in from our contact centres, from our retail estate, and teach them the skills as long as they have the right attitudes. And that's showing some real success. But we know that we can't just grow our own, and that we want to attract the right skills and the right people. And by the right people, we want missionaries to be joining our business, not mercenaries. We want missionaries to come in and to feel a sense of ownership and a connection to our mission, and not a team of people that will just do as they're asked for, as much money as they can get. And by doing that, what we know is we need to change how we attract people. We need to tell better stories. We need to ensure that the perception of what BT Digital is not just a legacy team that support the website. We need to make sure that we are going out and doing more. So we're just about to launch our external podcast. We've done 3 or 4 seasons already internally, where people across digital have come together and shared their stories. So that Digipod will be coming in your it'll be in your usual podcast places over the coming weeks, which will be an interesting sort of way for us to get our story out. And we've created a guild from across our function that has got a stated aim of turning us into a reference point, so that we have brought people from all of our areas together with a stated aim of how can we take BT Digital and have people across the world talking about the work that we're doing, and make sure that our aim is as big as that we want to be a reference point for digital transformation, a reference point for product, a reference point for product design and engineering, everything. And we need to make sure that we are doing better in telling those stories, and that in turn will attract the right people. And we're also trying to be the change that we want to see. So we are the Trojan horse, as it were, in terms of operating and taking these new ways of working first to market, as it were, in the business. So we are going out and over-indexing our time on collaboration. We are making sure our people do think end-to-end. We're changing and introducing changes to how we work, the tools that we use, the way that we do things. And we're introducing things such as a big digital hack that we completed late last year, where we took real business problems and brought people together from across the business, not just digital, around a 2-day hack to try and solve some of the biggest problems that we've got. And in turn, these are things that we want our business to be, and we are within digital trying to be the function that demonstrates the value of changing how we do things and thinking more as a technology business rather than a telco. So overall, we've got a real challenge. It's a big business. The challenge is massive, and especially complex when you consider the scale of our business and the turbulent times that we're going through. But fundamentally, the reason why I took this job was this is an exciting opportunity to take one of the UK's biggest brands and completely turn it on its head and use digital as the Trojan horse to do that. And I'm really excited and really proud of the work that we've done so far. But I'm also really, really conscious that we've got more to do, and I'm really excited to see what we do next. I'll be sticking around for any questions, and I know Chris will sort out the details of that. But looking forward to hearing from you, and thank you very much for taking the time to listen to me today. Thank you.
See Liam with us now. Hopefully, you can hear me and see me, Liam.
Can you hear me?
I certainly can.
Technology, yeah.
Yeah, we've got that out of the way at least. That's very much a sign of the times, isn't it?
Exactly.
Welcome. Thanks for a great presentation. Really nice to kind of gain an understanding into your role and the work you're doing within BT, and it's certainly good to see some of the things that you're doing as well. And we'll touch on those in a moment. But thank you for that. Really do appreciate it.
No, you're welcome. Thanks for asking me, mate.
You started, or midway through the presentation, you alluded to the cultural change being one of the kind of the biggest elements to digital transformation. How has kind of the needs and requirements changed with regards to organizational culture kind of in recent times? So throughout the pandemic, we've all had to, change the way we work, change the way we communicate. How much of an impact has that had on you and your product teams?
It's had a really big impact. So like we're very fortunate that we talked about sort of the tools don't matter. In the presentation, and like it's all about your collaboration. But I think what's actually been interesting when we think about like the pandemic and people becoming having to work completely separately, one of our key principles when we sort of went through this journey was that we wanted our squads to be co-located. Like we believe that, and we probably still believe that, squads that are spending face-to-face time together, fixing problems, sort of sharing and building relationships every day, will be the best teams and will build the best products. But we've not been able to do that for the last 12 months. So what we've done, and what we're already in the process of doing, thankfully, was looking at the tools that we use to collaborate. And actually, what we've probably seen over these last 12 months is that collaboration get even better. So the culture historically was, we need a meeting, therefore we need to book a meeting room, and therefore we need to wait a week to be able to get something that's big enough for 15 people or whatever it might be. Whereas now it's within 20 minutes, we've got a problem, bang, we're all going to jump onto a mural and sort of make sure that we're clear on what his options are. We've got all the right tools to be able to collaborate remotely, invite stakeholders, work synchronously and asynchronously, etc. So I think that what we've actually seen, and this has been enabled by the tools and the technology, is greater collaboration through this and quicker response to problems, be it business or user. And in turn, what we are really hopeful of is, how do we get the best of both going forward? How can we think about physical contact in different ways, make sure that whilst we still want our teams to be co-located, our definition of co-located will change, the level of expectation in terms of days in the office, etc. But yeah, overall, our collaboration has got better, and we're really excited to see where that comes. I'm not even sure if I answered your question then, Chris. I went all politician on that, didn't I?
No, I think it was a good answer. And with that, just want to kind of bring it back to that. You said you're kind of moving faster, you have to wait less times and stuff for the meeting. Does that in turn mean less bureaucracy as well? If there was kind of any anyway, can you move a bit quicker with regards to that, jumping through hoops and less barriers kind of thing?
Well, listen, when you work at a company like BT with tens of thousands of people working here, bureaucracy happens. Like, red tape is all over the place. Like, there's no point kidding. And one of our aims is, and when we talk about we are set up in what we would call alliances, and we have alliance leadership teams where you've got the disciplinary leaders all coming together that support the outcomes that we're responsible for. So be it our sort of heads of design, our heads of engineering, heads of product, etc. It's our stated aim to make our team's life easier. And by that includes helping them get through red tape. Let's do red tape. I can't say that other word. To get through the red tape, to get through all the legacy processes, and to make sure that the teams feel set up to be able to work at pace. And listen, there's always going to be time. And I mentioned it earlier on that our business is going through a complete transformation in terms of culture, and digital is almost like the Trojan horse trying to support that. We need to educate our stakeholders in how and why we're doing things, rather than, and that is part that does slow us down a little bit. But we are starting to reach a bit of a critical mass where our stakeholders understand what we're trying to do. We're all aligned around the right outcomes. There's trust that we're doing things for the right reasons, and in turn, that kind of allows the red tape and barriers to go down.
Sure.
So it's all about trust. Like the reason why red tape gets sort of created and big process in the first place is trust and protection. So by the business trusting us and knowing that we can deliver value, they help us get rid of that red tape. So we are getting better. We're nowhere near done, but we are getting much better.
Yeah, I think that's pretty apparent to us as kind of consumers of BT, and outside looking in, it's clear that BT has and is going through a massive transformation. You can see that in every corner of the business. So that's kudos to people like yourself working internally in the business to put those changes through and whatnot.
It's all part of our stated aim of sort of being a reference point, and that's obviously within digital. But I think just the way that our business, so the way that our marketing and our advertising teams talk about our business is very different now. And as I say, that starts right at the top in terms of us wanting to take BT and turn it in, get it away from being a telco, and turn it into a technology business, because that's what we are. It's just that we've never really believed it.
Yeah, no, good stuff. We've had a quite an interesting question come in from Dawn Hunter here, and thanks for the question, Dawn. Hi, Liam, great talk. I have a question. If a team is comprised of mercenaries and we can't change the personnel, can we make them missionaries?
I don't believe that anybody comes to work to be a mercenary. I've obviously nicked that phrase from Marty Kagan for anybody that recognises it, but nobody comes to work, or very few people come to work to just do as they're told and to leave and to not feel like they've done a good job. So I think the answer to your question is yes, you can absolutely change that, but how you do that depends on who the people are, making sure you understand the context of why they're operating in that type of way, and to help them understand or to help fix the problems that is making them feel like a mercenary. And a lot of the time that's business process, that could be the things that they're being asked to work on, the way that we as managers are managing them, frankly. So I think the simple answer is yes. And the simple answer is yes, but there will always be the odd outlier where people just don't fit. And I think that's was it Dawn, sorry, that asked the question? I think that's for you to work with your HR people, Dawn, in terms of how do you ensure that person feels, and you can you've assured that you've invested the right time and energy on getting them the skill sets and the right how to do things. But then that becomes a very different conversation. But I think 99 times out of 100, people want to come to work to do a good job, and people want to feel like a missionary rather than a mercenary.
Sure. So do elements of kind of like micromanagement have to come into play with it?
Massively. Like, listen, nobody likes to be micromanaged, and I think if you are supporting a team or managing a team where you think that you are over indexing on mercenaries rather than missionaries, then you need to look at yourself, I think, as a starting point in terms of like, what am I as a leader enabling my people to be able to operate in the right way? And if not, then what do I need to do to support that?
Yeah, no, that's a good point. Nice one. And then another question come in from Cardona Crean. I hope I said that right. Thanks, Liam. How did you manage to demonstrate the value of learning within the organisation?
But when you say learning, I'm assuming that Cardona, did you say?
Yeah.
Yeah, and likewise, I hope I said that right. I'm assuming you mean in sort of the discovery part and making sure that we're learning sprint by sprint rather than sort of more educational stuff. But sprint by sprint, the way that we demonstrate value is by being able to build better products and that deliver better outcomes. So it's not a case, what we try to do is run dual track in terms of sort of execution and discovery at the same time. So if you think about it in terms of a traditional sort of swim lane or project plan, what we've discovered in the last sprint should be put into place in the next sprint, and then we try to learn what in that one sprint what we want to put into place in future. And the way that we demonstrate the value of that is by building better products than we would have done in the past. And if you build better products, you get better outcomes, and that's all that the business want, frankly. So that's the way that we've demonstrated it. What we haven't done is built a business case and gone, by the way, by running user research, it gave us X and it delivered Y. It's just that is how we have to build technology products, and we have to discover just as much as we execute.
Nice. And I think that's all we've got time for. But just quickly, I wanted to go back. You were discussing in your presentation about the Digipod, the podcast. When did you say that was?
It's coming up over the next couple of months. So we're on to season 4. So for the last few months, for the last sort of 12 months, members of Digital just sort of created it. So we've done 3 seasons internally. We're also very lucky enough to get Jay Comfrey and I forget the fella's name from the High Performance podcast. I can't call him the other one, can I? He's an esteemed professor. But on the 2 gents that run the High Performance podcast to come along and sort of share their stories through that. And we're aiming to bring that out to the masses over the next month or 2.
That's really good initiative. Good to see, and it's kind of offers further narrative on that. That what we can see as consumers. So
exactly.
Well played, and thanks for that, Liam. Really appreciate your time. Really appreciate the great presentation, and of course for now taking the time out of your busy schedule to join for that Q&A. Really do enjoy having you with us. So thanks so much.
You're very welcome. Thank you for the offer. I appreciate it.